Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and all between the binary. This is Get Informed with Wajeeh. This is Wajeeh Lion. Thank you so much for tuning in with another day, with another dollar. Excuse my throat. Still warming up. Let me know if Malcolm joins the space, because that would be cool. While we were on the live stream with Malcolm, I asked my team to write a research the news about uh, OPEC and the United Arab Emirates leaving OPEC, and they delivered nicely. So we might be discussing that here in a second. We also might be discussing the article I posted earlier today about the strategic calculus war or peace for Saudi Arabia. Also, some interesting, fun news. I will be having a live stream with your favorite Substacker, Kate Justice, this coming Thursday on Substack. We're still working out the exact timing on Thursday. But this Thursday, Justice and I will be talking about her very specific research article regarding Jeffrey Epstein and that connection with the Saudi government and the Jared Kushner. So it's going to be a very nice live stream. I strongly recommending you joining us and keeping an eye on for that particular live stream. I reached out for several other creators on the platform like Wajahat Ali. You know the funny thing is Wajahat and Wajeeh is means basically the same thing in different languages. Uh means basically wise guy or a smart like a representative of the people or the person that has a lot of knowledge. Sometimes it mixed meanings, but in different languages it means the same thing, which is kind of cool. I still haven't heard from Waj, so if you guys want to reach out to him to have Wajeeh and Wajeeh podcast, that would be pretty cool. Let him know that you are interested in having this conversation with me as much as I'm having interested in having him with him. Like a lot of these creators, you guys have brought to my attention wanting me to collaborate with them. So just like you asked me to collaborate with them, it would be a good idea if you asked your favorite creators to want to collaborate with me. It just, it works both ways if, the message goes from from both sides. And I think, this is enough for news, personal news for now. One one side comment. One person was saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna subscribe to you because you want to be number one instead of delivering on the news." And I think there is a misunderstanding. I think when I delivered on the news, I regularly become number one. But there is a clear, like I was obviously expressing my thanks to the viewers that are following me and supporting me. And I was obviously saying that this is how we make a living. And if you want to support us making a living doing this full time, then this is how you should support us. And apparently this rubs people the wrong way. If that rubs you the wrong way, I'm Arab. I don't give a fuck. This is how we make a living. If you want to support us, go ahead and support us. If you don't want to support us, I understand. You don't need to support us. But if you want to be part of this community and you can't afford it, message me. Tell me that you want to join our community and you cannot afford it. I'm more than happy to give you a premium membership on the house. You don't have to pay $1. Just let me know. Send me a message in the DM. Or I will leave a message in the group chat like every once in a while, and I will tell everyone that wants to become a premium member to comment on there, and I will reach personally to every person that commented in that group chat, and I give them a premium membership on the house, like I've been doing for the last 2 weeks. So people, you're not gonna please everyone, but this is how we make a living. Thank you. Jesus, some people rub you the wrong way. The UAE Energy Minister confirmed today with the Saudi government. I think like there is again the Saudi government and the UAE conflict has something to do with the United Arab Emirates today coming out and saying that they are going to pull out of the OPEC by May 1st. And then you have to understand the nuances and differences between the vision of leadership between the United Arab Emirates and the GCC nations and Saudi Arabia. The Saudi royal family, for a majority of the part, publicly are anti-Israel, publicly. Behind the scene, they will work with Israel. They will have their own security contract with the Israeli government. In fact, they pay the Israeli governments billions of dollars um, for a hacking software called Pegasus, and that software is used to crack people's phones without links, without anything. It's quite a scary virus that does not require anything to hack someone's phone, and yet the Saudi government pays billions of dollars, and they use that to track uh, Jamal Khashoggi, and they use that to track people like me living abroad. And it's been published that the the Saudi security forces are behind the scene connected to the Israelis, but publicly they hold a very strong public opinion that as long as Israel does not recognize the state of Palestine and does not provide a two-state solution, then there would be no normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, you have the United Arab Emirates, who has already signed on to the Abrahamic Accord and publicly supports the existence of Israel, and to a point where um, they take the Israeli side to a fault rather than, supporting the Palestinian cause. So that's specifically for the current king does not go too well. Um, there was zero consultation between the Saudi government and the UAE about the how the United Arab Emirates is pulling out of the uh, OPEC. Also, the United Arab Emirates is the most hawkish of the all of the GCC nations when we are looking at as a response to the Iranian government. Many of the Iranian UAE leadership wants to degrade the Iranian military to a point where they can no longer even send a basic drone or support their proxies. That's why I think the current situation on the ground is unrealistic in terms of demands, where the United States is expecting Iran to give up almost everything, and Iran is basically expecting the United States to give Iran all its demands. So they're both expecting a or demanding a maximalist uh, outcome. And when you want a maximalist outcome, you end up on the chart of the prisoner dilemma on the worst side possible, where both sides keep picking what's worse for both of them. Let me explain to you the prisoner dilemma for many of you that never heard of a prisoner dilemma. The idea is that I'll pull a chart out. This is the best one so far. Where did the picture go? Give me 1 second. I apologize. Um, Here you go. Thank you for your patience again. Okay. Why do we call this a prisoner's dilemma? Is because it's based on this right here. Okay. When we look at the prisoner dilemma, we are looking at a situation where two people were going on they were going on a hit or run. And they were about to rob a jewelry store, for example. And they went in and they got in and they broke into the jewelry store, but they got caught. When they got caught, that doesn't matter. They both got caught, let's say later on. investigative people. The detective comes in and takes person A and person B, and they purposely put them both in different rooms. So the idea here is person A has zero communication with person B. What else do we know about this is that the detective gets to tell person A and person B different things, and person A and person B wouldn't even know. So I'm the detective. I go to person A and I tell him, listen, man, if you tell on your friend, okay, if you tell on your friend gets 20 years in prison, you get out easy. But if your friend tells on you get 20 years in prison and he gets out with nothing. But if you both shut up, this is what he doesn't tell you. If you both shut up, you only both spend 1 year in prison and then get out. If you both tell on each other, you both get 5 years in prison. He also doesn't tell you that. He keeps that secret. So you're sitting there, oh, good. If you weren't a part of the mafia, or if you weren't a part of, a cartel that would enforce some sort of cartel or mob laws outside of prison where they would hold your family accountable against you, which this doesn't apply to this at the moment. Now, imagine that we are looking at this, but this time we're playing with U.S. oil, with the oil supply and the Iran American peace talks. You could already imagine how that would play a part. But now we are talking about the GCC. For a long part of time, the GCC was all dependent on working with each other for protection. They also worked with each other to make sure that there is easy flow of access of oil. They always work with each other during times of conflict, but even this times of conflict, they come together, but they have a lot of differences between them where they cannot come to an understanding. So I was saying today in Malcolm's space that Saudi Arabia and UAE have been having a culture war, mostly over social media, and it happened specifically regarding what was starting to happen between them in Yemen, where they started to have a disagreement in Yemen on who's going to take power. And Saudi Arabia basically struck a United Arab Emirates shipment to Yemen with a missile and ended that UAE involvement in Yemen. But that started a Cold War between the Saudi government and the United Arab Emirates, where now everyone is, hitting the other under the belt anytime, any chance they get by bringing in, political dissidents, by bringing in, hard critics toward the Saudi government, or so on and so forth. This war has also increased that because the United Arab Emirates got the brunt of the hits from the Iranians, and the Gulf countries did not send their military supplies or did not send their soldiers to support the United Arab Emirates, like how Saudi Arabia was supporting Bahrain during this war. The UAE has realized that the GCC is useless for physical defense. The senior UAE advisor, Anwar Bargash, explicitly condemned the GCC weak military posture. Abu Dhabi refuses to subjugate its economy to Saudi Arabia when Riyadh cannot protect Emirati airspace. That's literally what I was just saying. So the United Arab Emirates controls the Fujairah pipeline. They can pump crude oil directly across the Hajar Mountains to the Gulf of Oman, bypassing the Hormuz Strait entirely. So they already have their own pipeline and they're pumping, but that pipeline is not, that big or it's not that strong, and it doesn't cover the full amount of the oil that they used to sell or the gas that they used to sell. So it's still not enough. The IEA report that catastrophic 10.1 million barrels drop in a global supply, and OPEC production alone collapsed by 27%. The break even asymmetry, then UAE needs the barrel price per barrel to be $50 a barrel to balance its budget. Economy is around 75% non-oil. Like the 75% is non-oil, where Saudi Arabia needs the price of oil to be around $80 to $90 a barrel to fund MBS Vision 2030. But what this doesn't mention is even if the current price is $200 a barrel, if they can't sell any oil, or if their oil sales is a fraction of what it used to be, which is a couple of hundred million barrels a day, to couple tens of millions of barrels a day, it's a big difference from hundreds to tens of millions of barrels. So what you need is you need the pre-war sales amount with the price of barrel to be around $80 to $90 a barrel for Saudi Arabia to make profit to fund its vision of 2030. Without that funding, without the numbers of sales, all of these economic uh, ideas or economic visions go to trash. If you notice, Saudi Arabia all of a sudden is pausing all of its investments in the West. The club thing, forget about it. I think maybe a little further, they're gonna stop funding UFC. A little bit further, if this continues, they're going to stop funding WWE. Little bit further, the soccer teams that they were paying for, all of a sudden they will stop cutting ties with, or they will sell those soccer teams. Why? Because they can barely keep up with the financial cost of the war. Self defense. They have already gone through most of their stockpile of, Patriot air defense missiles and other air defense missiles system. Yeah, those rockets cost millions and millions of dollars each. Meanwhile, Iran only needs a $50,000 uh, uh, drone to intercept to cut through some of the best, highest, most secure Saudi air defenses and hits some of its most important targets. And Iran has shown their capabilities of doing so. So all of a sudden, hold on, what do? We look for Zelensky, Habibi, Zelensky, Habibi, come over, babe. Let me introduce you to my country as oil. You want oil, Habibi? Come on, give us your drones. Give us your drone capabilities. America is too expensive. They're expensive friend and they do not do anything anymore. We pay. They ignore us, and after we pay, they're supposed to protect us. They throw us in the trash. You're a better friend. You're a better friend. Oh, come over here, Habibi. Come over here. UK, Prime Minister, come over here, Prime Minister. Let me talk to you. I want to have a word between you and me. Yeah, let me talk to your ear. Italy, where are you at? Italy, come here, Italy. You're a beautiful Prime Minister. Come over here. Please, let me talk to you quickly, quickly. Now they're talking to all their asses. Pakistan, please send your air force. We need your airplanes to make sure Iran doesn't hit us. Oh, they're calling all their friends. All of a sudden, it's no longer U.S. protection. It's the world economy. Who's going to protect us? That doesn't have to be the United States of America. Anyone, come over here right now, Habibi. Right now. Yes, yes. I'm willing to pay. I'm willing to pay. Yes, I'm a good friend. I'm a good friend. So the UAE knows that Saudi Arabia cannot afford, you know, uh, a retaliatory price war after UAE pulls out. Neither Saudi Arabia or the UAE can have a price war at the moment or have any economic retaliation because they're not in a situation of an economic retaliation. They're both in a situation where they need to get every penny that they could and save everything that they can. So it's a safe bet for them to get out now because Saudi Arabia is already desperate and they're not going to be in a situation to put more struggle on the UAE economy. The Hormuz blockade pushed the U.S. to $4 a gallon in the cheapest states, costing consumers 300 to $450 million daily and a major liability for the Trump administration ahead of midterm. The United Arab Emirates dumping uncollapsed oil onto the market aligns with perfect US anti-inflation goals. the U.S. crude exports also hits a record of 5.2 million BPD. I told you in Malcolm Space today that the United States is selling petroleum to the global economy. How much petroleum is the United States selling to the global economy? You know, they're only selling how much? 5.2 million barrels of oil a day. I need to look this question up real quickly to put things into perspective. So the best the best the US could do at the moment is 12 million barrels of oil a day that the US could do in sales, which is not too bad. Not too bad. But realistically, the United States needs to be selling at least 20 to 30 millions barrels of oil a day to offset some of the economic pressures that we have at the moment, not all of the economic pressures. Yes. Our domestic consumption alone is 20 million barrels a day, 20 million barrels of oil a day is the local consumption of the United States alone. And we are selling about 10 millions of barrels a day to abroad. And the United States consumes most of the oil it produces. So before of the war, the United States only got 10% of the oil that it consumes from in the United States imported from abroad. 9% of that 10% was from Saudi Arabia. Now, the United States needs to substitute that 10% with its own oil. Additionally, they need to supply the world market with oil that they barely keeping up with. Here's your full picture. You're barely keeping up with your local market. You're barely keeping up with your economy. And the oil that you produce is supposed to be part of your national security. And the oil you're selling to the global economy is not going to offset the economic uh, um, uh, uh, hardship that you have placed on the U.S. economy. So this is going to be a direct hit to the Russian oil market and to the Saudi oil market as the UAE is pulling out of OPEC. The co-chair of OPEC, Alexander Novak, lost his primary mechanism for weaponizing energy flows. Russia supported Iran in the 2026 war. The UAE's exit critical weakness, the Russian Saudi energy alliance. Who's benefiting? Pakistan with gaining some sort of prestigious control over US decision making. Trump is now dependent on Pakistan to tell Iranian government 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's why every once in a while Trump's like, "Oh yeah, everything is great. We have figured out Iranians have agreed to all of our demands," and Pakistan and Iran are looking. What the hell are you talking about? I think there's sound. If there's no sound, maybe there's an issue with the phone. Did the Washington offer Abu Dhabi covert defense guarantees like the Iron Dome deployment in exchange for leveraging OPEC and crashing the oil prices? Someone is asking. That is something to be looked into. State media claim that the UAE can ramp up production immediately. That Iran strike damaged the critical Habshan Fujairah pipeline more than publicly admitted. Listen, anytime I see a government tell me that they are going to be easy production and they can speed up things very quickly, I always like to be skeptical. UAE likes to say that it's easy for them to ramp up production. They're saying it's easy for them to sell more oil to the rest of the global economy. I think they're trying to calm U.S. markets a little bit, uh, but I don't see how it's gonna be a little bit complicated. Again, Saudi Arabia cannot afford a price war with the United Arab Emirates because the price of production for the UAE is way cheaper than the price of production for the Saudi government. Um, Saudi airspace already has started restricting UAE commercial flights. The withdrawal of Saudi capital from Dubai, you will see a lot of people from Saudi businesses will start withdrawing their capital from the United Arab Emirates and start sending it back to the Saudi government. I think what we will also see is more proxy war between Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates and the UAE in Yemen. About today's other article, to though, I know I spent most of today talking about oil. I wanted to talk about how realistically it is or how viable it is for Saudi government to join the war against Iran. Although there's some possibilities that they would join the war, my game theory shows that There is a good chance that they don't, because they have a lot more to lose if they join the war than they have to gain. What do they have to lose? They have to lose all the oil refineries. They have to lose all the water distillation plants. They have to lose electric facilities. Most of the Saudi economy is dependent on expats and foreign workers there. So once everyone was going to want to leave, then that destroys the whole point of the economic investments. You saw Saudi Arabia stopping a lot of their foreign investments. I mentioned that earlier. That's because they are paying close attention to their national security now than they are paying attention to their economic prosperity. You could say 2030 projects have been on pause until this war comes to an end. So, yes, Saudi Arabia wants this war comes to an end, but they understand that entering this war doesn't mean that the war is going to come to an end, which is something the UAE continues to fail to understand. Is that they believe that, as we should keep going and destroy all the capabilities of the Iranian government without understanding how much capabilities the Iranian government actually have and how much that would take from their military and Western militaries to do so. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. You guys know where to go for questions? You want me to show you again? See. Okay. Ask your questions. Ask your questions. Let me know if Malcolm is in the space, okay? I need to know if Malcolm is in the space. Oh, you need me to show you how? Okay. Let's see who's live.
Morning, everyone. Watson News to cover this morning being a filing in a federal courthouse that we never thought we'd see.
Okay. How's everyone doing? Thank you for your patience. I do have one hand instead of two. So I'm gonna go to the. So this is Aaron. Apparently he's a big deal here. Right? His name is Aaron. Yeah. Aaron. My maybe we do a live stream in the future. We'll see. You go. You see how I'm going to the side of the screen and I will push to the sideway? Awesome. If you notice, what that does is that will take me back to the video. I'm gonna go push again. What does that do? It keeps me in the live stream, but also make sure that I leave to the rest of the page so I could do whatever I want. And then I go to the group that I click on the chat side. And then if you go Click to the chat side, and then you just click on here and click on my group chat, and then you can ask your questions right there. You see where I say ask your questions? You would click on replies and you would ask your questions right in there. Makes my life much easier. So I don't lose your question in the midst of all the comments, right? You don't want me to lose your question in all the comments, right? So I'd appreciate if you could go there and save me a headache. I still haven't figured out how that's done on Apple product. So if you can't do that on your Apple product, just ask your questions in the live stream. I'll do my best to uh catch your question as best as I can. Oh, yeah, man. For all the people that have one hand, I don't know how you do it, but uh, by the way, a lot of people they not like to claim that the United States was successful in its decapitation for the Iranian leadership, and I would be like, okay, you decapitated a lot of big names, but if you decapitated the leadership, that means there's no one else to come back afterwards. You took all of the leadership to the point where there's no more government. So, you decapitated some of the leadership, but you didn't decapitate all of the leadership. You still have a Khomeini. You still have a Khamenei. You still the his son is right there. Okay. By the way, when Trump comes out and he goes by, oh yeah, I'm so happy with the Gulf nations. Saudi Arabia's been doing great. They've been supporting us in this war. Saudi Arabia's going like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, man. Shut the fuck up. You are making us a target. Could you at least keep a secret? Can you keep a friend safe? I am going to help you, but can you keep it between us? Shut the fuck up. They're sitting there, oh my God, why are we even supporting him? This is, when you have a child and you tell this child, I have a secret, don't tell everyone. And you know that once you tell him I have a secret, don't tell everyone, he's going to tell everyone. That's a Trump. Oh, yeah, yeah, don't worry. I will keep your secret. No one knows about it. 5 minutes later on Truth Social, I was talking to my good friend from Saudi Arabia, the MBS. He's doing an amazing job protecting the United States of America. And they're like, what the Jesus Christ? 900 initial strikes. Anyways, let's look at your questions. Let's look at your questions. What is Trump Army Navy doing right now? Poor guys, the Army guys, special forces, they're either sitting in secret U.S. bases in Jordan and secret U.S. bases in Israel and secret bases in other places that we don't know about. You have the airborne regiment who are ready. You have a whole bunch of Marine. Uh, units, and then you also have the U.S. Navy ships that's there. Each Navy ships have like at least 3,000 people in it, running the big, air carrier stuff. There's a lot of people living just in that ship alone. That's just running the ship every day to day. Some of them, are playing cards. Other ones are training, doing drills from the moment they wake up to the moment they die, to the moment they go to bed. Excuse my language. From the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed. That just came out wrong. Iran actually facing like an everyday people. Everyday people. Um, I know sailors. Sailors, of course, they're pissed off. They have spent more than 220 days deployed, and that is already longer than usual. Whoever was deployed need to go home and be switched to someone else. And that usually takes a lot of work to switch sailors from whoever was on board to someone else. And the fact that the U.S. government didn't take its time to change the sailors who were on board of these ships that were on board for more than 220 days. Like, guys, this is almost a year. Like, well, they haven't seen their family in almost a year, and they're about to keep going in this war. So of course, their morale is not going to be very high. Their expectations of going home early is gone. Not everyone wants to be at war. Which of the Iraqi candidates for prime minister or their proxies do you think would have the strongest coalition? I think now the coalition game in Iraq is going to be a little bit complicated, especially that you have this war going on. And then you have some, hard American allies that are in Iraq that are now going to go anyway. Uh, I think I need to look more into the coalition game in Iraq before I can give you a full answer. Wajeeh, will Saudi Arabia ever get sick of all of the Trump may have? I think they're already sick, but they know how to, they know how to deal with strongmen like Trump. They deal with strongmen for a living, all their life. That dealing with Trump is not that. Uh, it's difficult, but not that difficult for them. Um, I have someone's like, how long will Iran tolerate Israel ongoing aggression in southern Lebanon before fighting back? They are really wanting to see where these peace talks lead with the United States before making a decision on Lebanon. And the United States is stalling, and they understand that the United States is stalling. But I don't think for much longer. Unfortunately, if Trump doesn't come to a peace talk anytime soon, I could see this war count resuming on all fronts, and that's not good for anyone. Especially if Lebanese people are over this war, they want nothing to do with it. And Israel is turning all of Lebanon into Gaza. The Kurds have been burnt by the U.S. several times, where the United States gave them weapons and intelligence and promised them a country. And every time they were burnt out and or the United States did not fulfill the promise, so the Kurds are sitting there and like, well, I don't know why you want my help. I ain't getting shit out of this. I'm okay. Why should I get involved? Oh, we're all good, baby. So the Kurds are not like interested in to have to. No one is interested in this war. I did not understand your question at yahoo.com. If you don't mind elaborating. Someone is saying we are close to the 60-day limit, and Congress will come to into play again. What do you see happening, Wajeeh? I see Trump administration switching from calling this into, special operations rather than war. They see because then it would allow them to support another military's war in the region, giving them cover to continue this war without having to have full U.S. Congress support on it. Meaning, all they could say is like, "Oh yeah, we have special operations in the region, unlimited strikes, so we don't have war. We have special operations." And you could definitely see something like that. You could also see the Republicans that are worshiping Trump all lining up and saying, "Yes, my supreme leader. Yes, your excellency. Yes, do you want me to kiss your hand and ask to? Yes, absolutely. Mwah, mwah. What else you need, my supreme leader? Yes." And walks out. That's the U.S. Congress and Senate from the Republican side. Now you got some, dinos on the Democratic side that might do some stupid shit like that. But here, like, I think this is a good opportunity to talk about the midterms. A lot of people think this war will automatically guarantee, the Democratic win in the midterms. And the sad reality is, even if the Democrats win, not all of them are good. And Democrats in office doesn't mean shit anymore for a lot of shit, for a lot of reasons. But it's a lot better than what we have. Let me elaborate. When the when everyone that we elect to go into office, whether it's a representative or a senator, puts special party interests first rather than the American people, then doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican, you're putting special interest groups first before my public interests or before the American public interest first. So we see all these lobbies, lining up, trying to make decisions, changes in the U.S. Congress. Democrats and senators don't do the writings of the bills where they depend on lobbies to write the bills on their behalf for them. So they're lazy enough to take those bills and they just pass them at the U.S. Congress and the U.S. Senate. And what ends up happening is everyone else trying to add their bylaws into these bills that are passing, where a bill is about how to make a burger. All of a sudden, you're seeing car parts in there. You're seeing something about funding a military campaign somewhere in South America that has nothing to do with how to make a burger. And all of this shit just gets piled up and added to a bill. And this bill goes into floor and gets passed, and everyone gets a chunk of that money. And all of a sudden, the American people are like, "Where's my interest?" Few people are making profit during this war, and all of us are eating shit. Everyone else is eating shit. Who's making money? Military manufacturer, Honeywell, Honeywell Company, where they make missiles. Boeing, where they're making planes. Ford and GMC, where they're making military trucks and Humvees for the U.S. government. Are you making money? We only ask for a couple $1 billion a year, and the U.S. is spending billions in during this war like it's nothing. We ask for a few $1 billion a year to house a couple of the houseless people in the city. We ask for a couple $1 billion a year to make sure that we have enough infrastructure renewal. We've asked for a couple $1 billion a year to make sure we put it back into our community so we can have educated kids that will come and make a difference in our economy. No, we want to spend all of our money into how to destroy the global economy. If you want to vote for someone like Bernie Sanders, where their loyalty has been known forever to be with the people. This coming election, if Democrats want to win, they have to put people first. If they want to win, they have to make sure that the voice of the people is heard, whether it's right or left. You think people who voted for Trump weren't Bernie Sanders supporters? They were Bernie Sanders supporters. They were looking for something away from the regular infrastructure they're used to. Show them that you are different. Show them that you're not part of this regular system that we have where we only give money for insider trading, where we only give money for special parties to take advantage of our economy, where we give money for these companies to buy back their shares and send money back abroad and put it in offshore accounts so they don't pay taxes. And Amazon pays zero taxes. Google pays zero taxes. Apple pays zero taxes. Holy shit. These are the biggest companies in our economy. Why are they paying shit? Hold on, we need our laws and regulations to be changed. Your assets that you own needs to be taxable. Yes. Your 501 your S&P needs to be charged, it needs to be taxed. The fact that you can borrow money off of your asset and not pay taxes off of the money that you borrowed off your asset so you can make a living off of the money that you have without paying taxes. Hey, come here, Habibi. We need to talk about that tax bill again. You know, it's very easy. It's very easy to keep the law enforcement busy on small everyday crime. Very easy to keep us busy with the police. But what is not easy? Making these police officers and police and investigators holding those people accountable who are abusing our system. Go after a big crime? Why are you going after a small crime? What is small crime going to do you? You don't even make as much income if you go after big crime as if you didn't go after small crime. It's a deliberate system to go after small crime to make us busy and into a global economy and make us busy into this life. But if we ask for, if we ask for the police to hold the big crime more accountable than the small crime, we would be in way better place than we are today. You know what? If you don't want to go after big crime, defund the police. But if you want to be police, go after big crime. Why are you police? Why are we funding? Why are we giving you the top dollar to go after a small people that are barely trying to make a living or stealing because they're trying to feed their kids? Or why don't you go after the people who have caused this hunger? Why don't you go after the people who have been creating Ponzi schemes across the United States? Big questions. We need to reorganize our priorities, reorganize the priorities. That's it. Someone tell me, this is socialism, Wajeeh. You know what is the most socialist thing that we have in our economy? The U.S. military. The U.S. military is the most socialist thing that we have in our government. Go do your research. We pay a lot of money into the military, not expecting any revenue back. I'm just asking for common sense. Any chance MBS will take their losses out of, buddy? No. The money that they pay Jared Kushner, the billions of dollars, is not investment. It's a bribe. How many? I've said this so many times. The United States, Saudi Arabia paid Jared Kushner, and GCC funded 99% of Jared Kushner's company's assets, expecting 0% in return. And the contracts are about to end in the next few months with $0 back of any returns from the billions of dollars that they have invested in Jared Kushner's firm, which is exactly what you should know about a bribe that was given to a Jared Kushner company. I don't mind becoming a political advisor or running for office. One day at a time, huh? One day at a time. Anyways, any other questions you guys have? Make sure to like, subscribe, and share if you like my content. If you can afford becoming a paid subscriber, please consider becoming a paid member. It helps me pay the bills and do this full time, so you don't have to do it full time. On the other hand, if you cannot become a paid member and you want to become a premium member, message me in the DM, send me a message, tell me that you want to become a paid member. I cannot afford it. You do not need to give me any other details. Just I cannot afford it and I want to become a premium member. I will gladly give you a membership on the house. For everyone that wants to support me and doesn't want to pay, just like, subscribe, and share. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Substack. Every once in a while, I'll post something on X, but I'm trying to pull it back as from X as much as possible. Um, if you have questions about if you have any specific topic issues that you think I should cover, also message me in private. I'm more than happy to take a look at it. And if it's something part of my interest, I will certainly look into it. Otherwise, I'd like to say مع السلامة. باي باي. وبالإنجليزي goodbye. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next time.